Well, guys, I am going to show a haul, and I'll be interested to see if I can upload this because I have shot 3 videos tonight. I've had camera issues as I'm having right now. Maybe it's time to invest in another camera or something. I don't know. Maybe a microphone. And I'm coping with the fact that as I went back to check the videos, I'm getting error codes saying that that they're gone. Yeah, so we'll see if we can make one of the 3 videos do there. I have a lot of new subscribers. I have the 2 other videos I had were topic videos, which I know some of the subscribers, that's what they're looking for. So for you guys that are coming, for new subscribers and the guys that have been around for a while, we got some comic books to show, right? So we'll see what happens. So to get on with it, so we don't end up with a long video, I've got a lot to show. We've got this stack, and I've got the 2 trades I want to show, right? Last haul video I did, I showed Cerebus Latter Days that I got off of eBay and a few other things and stuff, and I talked about how cheap they were, and I kind of wished I didn't do that because that same seller, even though I didn't mention his name, put some more things on there that I need, that I want. I was able to score a few of them. And as easy as it was to get these books, especially the 2 I'm going to show you, as cheap as they were, now there's people bidding on them. And I'm not going to say that my video had anything to do with that, but I'm not going to say that it's not in the realm of possibility that some people watched my videos and started doing a little digging and found them. So, yeah, my bad. There's a little honey pot there, and it's ruined. But anyway, I was able to haggle these down, I think. Anyway, that's seller. A lot of these books you can make an offer on, and some you can't. So I was able to get some real cheap. But first of all, the big ones that I got these for $4.99 a piece. There's 2 of them. I have Church and State Part 1 and 2, right? The big telephone books, right? Now, the thing about getting those so cheap is that a majority of my Cerebus collection, I'm getting this on the cheap. I read some issues of Cerebus, back up. And when I was about like 9 or 10 or something, there's a book magazine from Marvel called Epic Illustrated back in the day, and it was like their version of Heavy Metal. And within those pages of those Epic Illustrated, I found a few stories of Cerebus, little short stories that were in color from Cerebus's past. And then throughout the 80s, you would hear about Cerebus here and there in a little news magazine about comics, or I think there was an issue of Marvel Age where they were talking about it, and so you knew who Cerebus was. But then in the 90s, I got the Cerebus Zero issue, and then at a flea market, I found a lot of issues of Jaka Story and fell in love. So over 20 years, I've been kind of reading a little bit of Cerebus here, picking up some there. This shelf behind me, right where the black and white books break, from here back are Cerebus books. 300 issues, 6,000 pages, the story of one character ending with his death. So this is the life of one character, and these are 2 fantastic chapters. Church and State is a classic, and it is amazing now that I have Volume 1 and 2. Yeah, here's the back of it. The wraparound cover is just something you need to buy and just look at. So I have the complete story. I think it runs from issue 51 to 111, something like that. Very existential, power corrupts completely, funny stuff, heartbreaking stuff, and Cerebus basically at the end of this, spoiler alert, finds out that he's going to die, alone, unloved, and unmourned and stuff like that. And out of this Church and State, I'm probably missing, I think I said 15 issues of the story. And it is really amazing how some of this story, as some of it feels disconnected here and there, it truly is one story. Not just Church and State, the entire Cerebus story. 6,000 pages, because it gels so much better now that I've already read 2 or 3 of the issues I was missing. To where you sort of absorb Cerebus more than you study it, is all I can say, man. So, I did a whole video that I hope I can find on this computer, kind of trying to tell you about the commitment you need to read Cerebus and things like that. Moving on. I do believe that same seller, these are some of the books I was able to haggle. I didn't fully unwrap some of them, but I think I got this for $3 and some change. Let's do this again. It's a hardback. It is doesn't have a number on it, but This is World's End of Sandman by Neil Gaiman with an introduction by Stephen King. Between some story arcs, Neil Gaiman would just put out some one-shot stories that would be collected. One is in Dream Country, which is in the teens of the Sandman series. Fables and Reflections, which is in the, I think in the 30s or something like that, and possibly one floating around. And then World's End. And these are one-shot stories with different artists and stuff like that. And this has my favorite one by Mike Allred and Neil Gaiman of Prez, the 18-year-old president, which was a character in the 70s that had a short-lived series about an 18-year-old who becomes president. Okay. Then I was able to get these. We haggled. You can do make an offer on some of his books. He had make an offer. I shot low, knowing he would go high. And I found out on eBay that if you do make the offer and they accept the offer, or you accept their counter offer, you are obligated. All right, you've just bought the book. So I got these for $2 a piece, and I'm sorry I didn't unwrap them. I've been dealing with this stuff, but let's just do this. These are the hardback first editions of Bone. They are black and white inside. This beautiful stuff. First editions, like new, and actually I think I just bent that bent it a little bit. That's all right. But anyway, they are the black and white editions inside. And I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, my favorite way to read Bone by Jeff Smith is in the Scholastic editions I have. They're paperback and they're colored. Okay, they have been colored. Bone was originally a black and white book, which is fantastic. Here's volume 2, The Great Cow Race, with the rat creatures coming after Rose. Okay, and it's just a fantastic read. The series does get darker. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It's already been completed, and it does, in my opinion, get darker as it goes along. And here's volume 1. And a couple years ago, not too long ago, there's a guy that just blows my mind. I thought we were just going to have a talk about Bone. And he decided to kind of flash his money around. He's a lawyer. And he just sort of kind of looked at me like, well, it's good you have those. I had the hardbacks and stuff. These were actually hard to get at the time. Just real kind of smug. So that's always kind of bothered me a little bit, you know. Then I got these at a store in Tazewell. And he actually just gave me one of the books and stuff, right? He got a call from someone and ended up, he bought 9 boxes of comics for $100 without even looking at them. So I got there maybe about a day or two after he was back from North Carolina and had the books. I went through them, so I just picked out a few little things. But I'll be calling back this. But this is from a miniseries from 1982 that was 4 issues that highlighted 4 characters from the New Teen Titans that had been out for a while, right? I got the Raven issue, right? I think I got these for $4, all of these, right? Then I got Abnett and Lanning. If you don't know those names, those guys ended up doing, they ended up doing some, these guys have done a lot, but they really took off at Marvel and stuff. And if you like Guardians of the Galaxy movies, you need to check out these guys, their stuff. But anyway, here's Legion #1 that they did. They did about 38 issue run on this Legion, volume of Legion that is highly acclaimed. And I'm wanting to get it. I've got 4 or 5 issues and have a #1. They really, this and Legion Lost, a 12-issue miniseries where members of the Legion were lost in space, more or less, was really kind of hot there for a while in the early 2000s. Then he just threw this in. This is #2 of a 3-issue miniseries that came out through Total Eclipse in the late 80s, early 90s. Just retelling The Hobbit by Chuck Dixon and stuff. And this thing is just beautiful. And #2, this is a little bit discolored and beat up, but he just gave it to me. I now have the whole miniseries. I can upgrade somewhere along the line. But #2 is the one that's hard to get. And can you guess why? Could it be Gollum? You know, fantastic. This is the book that I about lost my mind because this is Albion. Alan Moore working with his daughter Leah Moore. I think he did the plot. She might have been doing the scripting. I don't know because I haven't read it. It was 6 issues through Wildstorm. And I've been picking up a book here and a book there. I've double dipped on a book or 2 here and there. But when I got issue 6, I was all happy because I can finally read this. I started digging through the boxes where I keep all the Alan Moore stuff, and I didn't have it. And I could have swore I've had this in this very room. And I could have swore I've had my hands on it. So I checked my comic book database. I've never had it. So to find this, I was like, yes. And like I said, These books that I'm showing you now that I forgot to say is that there's a comic book shop in Roanoke, has a new owner. He had all the boxes in there for the comics for $1 a piece, whatnot, la la la. Anyway, I had a bunch of trades, like maybe 6 trades, and the guy gave me a good deal, $30 in trades. So these were all in trade. Then I paid $4 extra for these loose ones here. And what was so funny is that he was inventorying. From what I understand, he had a comic book shop in Lynchburg, if I'm remembering the story right. It burned down a few months ago. He lost $250,000 in comic books. And as he was going through the guy's inventory, the guy who owned this store before him, all the white boxes, he had everything priced just about it. Had a few, he had, but he just said just $1 a piece. Let's go for it. Gave me that trade, and I look over there, and he's going through the boxes with another guy that's working there with him as I go through the inventory. And I know I heard him say this, but he was bitching about all the '90s image he was stuck with now in the Marvel books from the last couple of years. So anyway, found these in the box. This is a variant edition of issue 37 of Bone. I'm having camera issues. And it's just a great cover. I have quite a few issues of Bone signed by Jeff Smith. Now, this is the Ambush Bug Nothing Special from 1992. I've kept an eye out for this for quite a while because I've never seen one out in the wild. Why? At least in this area. I've talked before when I've talked about Neil Gaiman and the Sandman book, how Sandman was the book that brought in a completely different audience than what was around at the time. He was bringing in females and people who didn't read comics, but they were getting Sandman. And a lot of these people just got Gaiman stuff and Sandman stuff and books related to Sandman. And it always amazed me about how these guys, these people who weren't really into comic book collecting, would know what books to get that had a Death appearance or a Sandman appearance or a Gaiman character appearance. And yes, this has Sandman and Death in it, amongst other characters. Basically, Ambush Bug breaks the fourth wall. To me, this is Deadpool before there's Deadpool when it came to that stuff, the humor and things like that. And basically, each page, the 2-page there for a while through this book is Ambush Bug just trying to get a job in another comic. And he talks to Sandman and Death pops up and they talk. So it just amazes me how these people in pre-internet days knew how to show up and grab these books that would sell out before you even knew that you wanted it. Captain Atom number 41 or 42 is another book that had a Death appearance in it that year. And that also, there's a 3-story arc you can't really find, These are just upgrades. All-Star Squadron number 28 from 1983. All-Star Squadron is one of the first series that I bought with my money when I was a kid. And for some reason, even though I read a story arc in the 30s where it brought in the Freedom Fighters, that was my favorite run with Uncle Sam and the Ray and all them and stuff. For some reason, there was something about this book that I just read and read and read. And this thing has just dissolved over the years, so I got an upgrade. This is a book that was stolen out of my collection, and I found a very yellowed copy of one just to fill in that gap. So I stopped going nuts over it. Finally got it upgraded. No idea why this one was stolen, unless this is the first Jerry Ordway work on the book or something, or why somebody would want that. Another book that I've had, and I just, when I shot this the first time, I had a moment there, which I'm sorry you can't see on camera, where I saw that I bought this in 1990. And I went way back. I'm like, holy crap. This is a little bit of a key book in the series of the New Teen Titans. I can't remember why. Maybe it's because he forms a new team or something like that. It's a new story arc going off or something. But anyway, I had it since 1990, and just a few months ago when I was going through this stuff, apparently some books got piled up, and when I pulled the book up, there was a piece of tape on the cover, and it got ripped a little bit. So that's just an upgrade. Again, just an upgrade. And I was going to talk about the Titans while I showed these covers. Now, I showed you the Raven book a minute ago, right? And you see this says New Titans. And then you're going to see that this says New Titans, right? New Titans, to me, is right up there with X-Men. I had a talk with Comic Quarter about this, about when the new Teen Titans started in 1980 with Marv Wolfman and George Perez. That was a book you could just get off the stands, and it was the New Teen Titans. I have a big run of those here too. And basically it went neck and neck with the X-Men. Many reasons why. The New Teen Titans was sexually charged. You had 3 or 4 new characters. 3 characters, Raven, Cyborg, and Starfire, right there with Robin, Wonder Girl, Kid Flash, and stuff like that. Changeling, who was previously Beast Boy with a Doom Patrol vibe in there. But Marv Wolfman wrote them like real characters and stuff, and it is sexually charged in a subtle way as much as you can and stuff like that. And these characters grew over the years. And this book, between George Perez and the writing of Marv Wolfman, it went neck and neck with, Byrne and Chris Claremont stuff and sales and stuff, right? So, this is number 25. Now you'll see that says New Teen Titans also. So one of the reasons I think it's that what hurt the sales on the book, in my opinion, and the book was great because the characters were growing with their audience. That's a trick when you have a teen book, is that the audience who loved it will become adults and they don't relate to the teens anymore. So this book, the characters actually changed and grew, and it was acknowledged and stuff, right? But what hurt the book is, get ready for this, right? I'm going to try to explain this. You had the New Teen Titans, right, on the newsstand, right? Then they came out with that 4-issue miniseries highlighting each character, kind of giving you an origin story or whatever and stuff like that. And that was called Tales of the New Teen Titans. 1984, Baxter series comes out. Direct market only is coming out. And they started another Teen Titans series called the Teen Titans. Well, the New Teen Titans. So they take the original newsstand one and around issue 41 call it Tales of the Teen Titans, because it is running concurrently with the Baxter series here, the New Teen Titans. And around issue 60 becomes a reprint series of the Baxter series. Then they take the Baxter series, and around issue 50 they change the title from the New Teen Titans to the New Titans. Yeah, and here's the... Yeah, see how confusing that was? So as I've been collecting these and piecing these back together, here's number 40 of the original newsstand edition. Number 40 there and stuff like that. That's why it's so hard. It changed titles so much. It changed Baxter series versus newsstand, and it became reprints, and the reprints had fantastic covers on them. So you were just sort of like, And then there's some Jack Kirby goodness here, piecing this together. Captain Victory, number 8 from PC Comics, old school, early 80s. I wanted to talk about this one day. And then after all this talk about Cerebus, I have a bunch of these. So, yeah, and that's why I'm shooting this video, so I can mark these off my list as I work on getting issue 25 to 300. And I found an issue 24 that's beat up. So here's Rick's story, some story arcs. We're in the 200s here, leading up to the last issue. So I want to thank Tim Merritt again for sending me some Cerebus issues. There's been 2-3 other YouTubers that have sent me some Cerebus issues helping with this. Comic Quarter wants me to send them a list. So I thank all the guys that have helped me, get these. Like I said, I got all these in trade. We're getting into the latter days here. So yeah, just commitment. There's a commitment. I hope I can find the video where I just talked about the commitment you need to get into Cerebus. How it's the best thing and the worst thing you ever read. How it's the life of a character. I kind of like how it booked in. I started out with the Church and State trades in this video and looked up and shown you all these books, the Mothers and Daughters series. I ended up double dipping. Damn it. So anyway, Guys, number 1, and a couple issues of Cerebus number 0, which I already have one, but it's good to have a reader copy and one to throw at somebody if they get into Cerebus. Alright guys, thanks a lot. I tried to go quick on this. Now I can put this stuff up and be at peace. Later guys.